performance of the night went to Rodriguez, Miradov, Chandler, and Poirier. They all won $50,000. Congratulations.
Pretty big night in the lightweight division, especially. So let's start with the main event. You know, Dustin Poirier, I think one of the biggest wins of his career. What'd you think of his fight tonight?
Yeah, no, he came out. Khabib, when I was with him last week, said he needs to come out in that first round. He needs to try to grapple, not strike with him. You know, tire him out, make him use his arms and legs, get him past. You know, he thought a round and a half, and he thought the fight would go the other way if he could get Conor out of the first round and a half.
Have you had a chance to speak to Conor yet after the result?
No, I haven't seen anybody.
I want to ask you what you thought about Michael Chandler as well. Like I said, an amazing debut from him.
When guys come into the UFC for the first time, they usually have a rough, first time in the big stage. He didn't. He came out and almost seemed like Hooker froze in that first round. And Chandler was just all over him and put on an incredible performance. Listen, man, when you get the platform that we had tonight, you make the most of it, and that kid did. Some people did tonight, and some didn't.
Yeah. I guess now the big question is, because those were two great wins, was Khabib impressed by anybody? Do we know what he's thinking?
I did talk to Khabib, and he said to me, Dana, be honest with yourself. You know, I'm so many levels above these guys. I beat these guys, and you know, I don't know. I don't know what he's, but it doesn't sound very positive. So we'll see. And what he said was, I told you guys before, he won't hold the division up. I mean, he already retired. He's basically retired. I'm the one that's been, you know, trying to get him to do one more.
Yeah. So do you give him a deadline? I mean, obviously you've got guys that want to compete for a belt, and I know he's not going to hold up. But what's the schedule in your mind?
Yeah, it doesn't matter because these two just fought. They're not fighting again anytime soon. So get it figured out.
You think if he is done, do you think those are the two guys that fight for the lightweight title?
Yeah.
You talked about the massive platform. Any early indication on how you're doing? And also, it seemed like there was some little bit of tech issues at the start. Do you know what happened there?
Yeah, it was mostly on the West Coast. West Coast had some problems, but they got it fixed. And, yeah, it was a good night. It was a really good night. One of the top two all time.
Top two all time?
Yeah.
Wow. We know you were going after the pirates, the illegal streaming. Any news on that?
Yeah, so let me tell you that story. It's my phone. So the night that I guess it was I did an interview with BT, and then I did I think you asked me at the press conference, right? And you know, I basically said this is what's going to happen. So, and I told you guys that we found the guy, and we were watching him. He put out a statement that night, said, I will not be streaming the McGregor versus Poirier anymore, but I will show you how to buy it legally, and put out this huge statement. And now his whole streaming service has been deleted and is gone, disappeared. One down and a shitload to go. And I'm ready. Every event, I'm going to go after one of these guys, one of these, or more. We'll see.
Fair enough. Last thing for me, we didn't get to see you after the weigh-ins.
And who you are, guy that did this. Good move. We had you, pal. I don't know if he knew something or what, but we had you, and all you had to do was pop up that stream, and you were in big trouble. So he did the right thing.
Yeah, fair enough. Like, last thing for me, we hadn't seen you since the weigh-ins. The whole Ottman-Izatar situation. What was in the bag that was brought there? You talked
No clue.
About?
No clue.
Crazy.
Yeah, no clue. Yeah, unfortunate.
Dana, right here. When you're watching the main event, the first round, Conor going for the shoulder strikes again, Dustin Poirier going for the takedown. When you're watching that first fight, was it playing out how you had expected?
Well, I think Conor had a good first round, doing what Conor does. But Poirier did too. I think Poirier fought the way he needed to fight in the first round.
Then the calf kicks seems obviously played a major factor.
100%.
And then I think Dustin even said he kind of thrives being overlooked. He didn't say he was being overlooked this fight, but I think a lot of people were looking forward to the Khabib-Conor fight. Did you think, was he being overlooked, and did he thrive?
Every time I did an interview, I had to talk about Dustin Poirier because the interviewers weren't. Yeah, he was totally overlooked.
And then Dan Hooker took his gloves off and tossed him into the octagon after he left. Have you spoken to him at all?
No,
there was
I haven't talked to anybody except Khabib.
Where does Charles Oliveira fit into this lightweight title picture, too?
Yeah, good question.
And then finally, what did you make of the stoppage in the Marina Rodriguez-Amanda Hebos fight? It seems like Marina said she basically got 2 knockouts in one fight.
It's true. That is true. Yeah, it was a bad. You know, he got too close to it to make them think that it was over, and then the second stoppage was good. I guess that's the way to put it. But yeah.
Just going back to that Ottman situation, I think I heard you in an interview say that they gave the wristbands to their friends, but then the guy who had the wristband like scaled the balcony or something. Why did he do that if he had a wristband? Why couldn't he just go into the lobby?
He did. He did go into the lobby, went into a room, then scaled a couple balconies over to his room.
Did he just get into the wrong room or something? Why did
No, I don't know what the hell happened. They gave a wristband to somebody. The guy came up and was, they you know.
Is there a chance of criminal charges being brought against that guy?
No, we're not doing that. But getting your fight pulled and getting kicked out of the UFC is probably bad enough for him. We don't need any criminal charges against the kid. He's not a bad kid. He just made a bad decision.
I meant the guy who came in.
Oh, yeah, that's Abu Dhabi government has his name. I don't know what they'll do with him. Yeah, that's up to them.
Dana, can I ask if Jojo Calderwood, do you think she'll make her way back to Valentina, back to the title picture with that win?
Yeah, it was a great fight. She looked good tonight. All kinds of weapons tonight. I don't know. I mean, I don't make fights the night of the fight, but obviously she looked great tonight.
Awesome.
Go ahead, Ani.
Sandrine from Kura. Would you say that Chandler's UFC debut was the most impressive you've seen?
It's pretty damn good. I don't know if I've seen one, but like I said to John, you know, a lot of people who come in their first time have a rough go, you know, in their first fight in the UFC. That kid fought like he's been here for years. So, yeah, I off the top of my head, I can't remember a better one. Do you guys hate the backflips as much as I hate the backflips? It's just the kid gets his fight in the UFC, then does a backflip that looks like it's going to blow out both fucking ankles, knees, and his spine. I don't get the backflip thing, and I don't like it.
Then
Somebody's going to get fucking hurt doing that.
Sorry. Then what do you make of the performance of Rodriguez against Amanda? And how do you see the future of Amanda that had a lot of hype and then got knocked out?
Well, it happens. I mean, you know, in this fight, I mean, she deserved all the hype she got, but when you put two of the baddest women in the world against each other, somebody's gonna get it, and it was her. It wasn't that she was overhyped. They're two top 10. You know, to make it into the UFC and then to make it into the top 10, I knew that was going to be a good fight, and either one of them could have gone in that fight. She wasn't overhyped.
We saw the video of you talking to Khabib about the numbers of the UFC 257. Do you have any updates on the numbers?
Yeah, I told John it's top either number 2 or number 3 all time.
Dana, to your left over here. Over here.
Hey.
Conor said in the cage that he's keen to be really active going forward after this, and he wants the rounds. Are you considering maybe turning him around relatively quick? Obviously, he needs to recover from a knockout like that.
Who, Conor?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure in a few hours he'll be blowing me up, telling me, you know, a million things he wants to do. So we'll see. We'll see what he wants to do from here.
Yeah, and obviously Dustin's heading in a different direction, but he says they'd maybe like to do part 3 sometime down the line. Is that something you could envision?
Yeah, I mean, there's always a trilogy when you got 1-on-1.
Awesome, thank you.
Cool.
Here, Muradov jump out of the cage and ask you to give him an Instagram follow. Is that true?
Yeah. Yeah. He jumped over the cage and said, Dana. And I walked over there and he says, why don't you follow me on Instagram? I said, I'll follow you right now. We got it done.
And also, any updates on when UFC might be coming to Abu Dhabi again?
We haven't left yet.
We already want to come back.
Yeah. I mean, if I had to map it out in my head, we'd come back here in June or July. Probably it'd be about that time. You know, who knows? While we were here, there was a new inauguration, and we'll see what happens. You know, traveling in America and all this stuff is going to be, I think, another massive challenge for us this year.
Thank you.
Dana, can I ask about Michael Chandler? And because he came past the media and he was saying, "I'm coming for you, Khabib. I'm coming for you." What did he shout at you? I see him come over to you just after his victory, just before he exited the cage. Did he say something similar?
He was saying all kinds of things. I can't hear well, so I kept asking what he was saying. I didn't get most of what he said, but I knew he was fired up, and I'm sure he was asking me for something, but I don't know exactly what he said. You're gonna have to ask him when he comes in here. But yeah, I'm obviously gonna talk to Khabib and see if he wants to defend that title, and if he doesn't, I won't push it anymore.
I know we got Khabib's comments to you. You said that he was levels above those guys, but did he make any special mention of Michael at all?
No. He said, Dana, be honest with yourself. You know, he wanted to see something spectacular. You know, he hates Conor, so I know he wanted Conor to lose, but, you know, there has to be a little piece of him inside that, you know, the fight with him and Conor would have been one of the biggest fights ever, if not the biggest fight. So the last few days, the way that this thing's been trending, and you guys had to feel it with your numbers too. I mean, our numbers are off the charts this week. And I was saying that I felt that Khabib-Conor could be the number 3 fight all time, period, in all combat sports. Today, I felt like it could be number 1. I felt like it could beat McGregor-Mayweather. You know, so a piece of them had to want to be a part of a fight that big.
Yeah.
Dana, we just had a taste of what's like having fans back. Do you think it's going to be a little weird going back to the Apex? And would you have Conor fight, because he wants to stay active, would you have Conor fight at the Apex with no fans?
You know, coming into this thing, I didn't know these fans here were great. I figured they'd be crazy tonight. At one point when they were chanting, "Ole, ole," I mean, it sounded like this place was sold out. So it's cool to have fans, but yeah, I mean, we could do Conor at the Apex. I don't know what we're gonna do. I don't know what this year is gonna hold for any of this stuff with what's going on in the United States right now. So we'll see what happens.
I was gonna say Anderson's debut was pretty impressive.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true.
And would you say about travel might be more difficult under this administration?
Yeah,
just in
it
general?
sounds like things are tightening up over there and talking about 14-day quarantine like Canada and stuff like that. If that happens, that's gonna be a problem.
If you do come back here, because I know some people, they had to quarantine for, I think, 10 days or something like that, and they missed that window and had to resell their tickets. Is there anything we can do about that so fans don't get to miss
What
it?
happened?
I think some people had bought tickets, but they missed the window for quarantining to get into Abu Dhabi, so they had to sell their tickets because they couldn't go. Is there anything that can be done about that if you do come back here?
Listen, I'm trying to do everything we can do. I mean, this situation's never going to be perfect, but Abu Dhabi's as close to perfect as you can get. I might have to move here this year. Yeah, it's as close to perfect as you can get. I mean, the way that these guys do everything in this country is done to the best of everybody's abilities. It's incredible.
Dana,
Yes.
here. You already talked a little bit about Oliveira, but there's an interview that you said that Justin Gage is the fight to make for Oliveira. Is that the idea?
For who? Oh, I don't know. I listen, I didn't make any fights tonight. We're just talking. People are throwing theories at me. theoretically, what do you think of this? I didn't make any fights tonight. I didn't agree to anything. We're going to go home. Tuesday is matchmaking. We'll start figuring stuff out. Go ahead. Yeah.
Based on your personal knowledge of Conor, how do you think he would react to this defeat? I mean, as a personal opinion.
Yeah, I think it'll make him hungry. I think it'll make him hungrier. There's two ways this goes. Hungrier or I'm done. He's got the money. I mean, when you think about it, I'm a huge Rocky fan. This is like Rocky 3, okay? When you get off a 310-foot yacht, you know what I mean? You're living that good life. It's tough to be a savage, you know, when you're living like he lives and has the money that he has. You know, on his way up, he was a young, hungry kid, didn't have any money, and he wanted nice things. He wanted nice suits, nice cars, nice houses. He's got everything he ever wanted, you know? So I don't know. It goes this way or that way. Yep. Thanks, guys. Have a safe trip home.
Congrats, man. It couldn't have gone much better than that, could it?
No, man. I really don't think it could have. It's been a long time coming, though, right? I felt everything in there. I saw everything in there. There was something about this week. There was something about preparation, meeting opportunity. I know everyone's heard it a million times, but man, you've seen it. A lot of y'all have seen it. I've cut my teeth in this industry for a long time. I've been preserved. My brain, my body, my will to win has been preserved for such a time as this. And it all showed tonight. Stepped into that octagon first time. And listen, I've been nervous in a lot of fights in my career. And a lot of times it's because I've had a lot to lose. You've seen those matchups, a lot to lose. And nothing to lose tonight, man. Top 5 lightweight, Dan Hooker. Of course, there was a ton of pressure, but I didn't feel it. I was there. My feet on that octagon canvas, man, rubbing my back on that cage, drinking a little bit of water, team there. I felt at home, and onward and upward. Can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, that's surprising, because it was crazy, like, watching you walk out, you just, like, nonstop smile on your face, you know what I mean? I don't know if I've ever seen you quite that happy walking into a fight.
Yeah, you know, I halfway was a little bit, you know, nervous, waiting for one of my coaches to be like, "Hey, man, settle down. You're about to get into a fist fight in front of millions of people." But it just let the emotions run wild, you know. I was crying back in the back, like happy tears, you know, thinking about my wife, thinking about my son, thinking about this opportunity, thinking about this platform, thinking about how God has had me in the palm of his hand since I was a young man. And there's been a lot of ups and a lot of tough times, but they have all led me to this, you know. And I just feel so grateful, so humbled by the opportunity to go out there, finish top 5 lightweight. We'll see what's next. I mean, you guys heard me. I would love for Khabib to come back. You know, a little bit. I get it. I haven't earned the right for him to think that he is not levels above me yet with just that performance. But I promise you, I could beat that man. I promise you, if he steps into the octagon with me, he becomes 29 in Chandler and not 30-0. So we will see.
I guess you probably heard Dana. I mean, that was exactly what he said, right?
I did. Yeah, I did. I was right over there.
Did that burn you a little bit?
It did. And man, but as I've said too, and I looked right into all these other cameras and just said, listen, Khabib, you are the greatest of all time. You are the GOAT. You are undefeated. You have looked unbeatable. You are right. None of these guys can hold a candle to you. What are you going to do? Come back and rematch one of these guys? It's not going to happen. You don't need to do that. You're a champion. But when a guy who shows that he's got a wrestling pedigree, when a guy who comes in and shows, yeah, he's not undefeated. Listen, I'm not undefeated. I wear my L's on my sleeve. I got 5 of them. A couple of them were weird stoppages, you know, TKO, injury, defaults, whatever you call them. But every single time I've come back better. I'm by no means a perfect man inside that cage, inside that octagon. but I promise you I can beat that man. I promise you I can beat Khabib. So I told him, I didn't tell him personally, but I told him through the camera lens, listen, you've earned every right to be able to sail off into the sunset and continue your, living your life and making your impact because you've done it thus far. But man, if you ever do come back, there's a man over here waiting for you from High Ridge, Missouri.
Last thing for me, I mean, clearly the Khabib fight would be the one, but if not, I'm sure you heard Dana say it looks like, hey, you and Dustin for the championship might make sense. Does that appeal to you?
Of course, man. Dustin, there is not a man on this roster that I respect more than Dustin Poirier. Borderline a fan of the man, we sat next to each other. We sat next to each other before weigh-ins, just talking about our wives, our kids, our life. Like I'm talking to him about my groove ring. I'm like, hey man, what kind of silicone ring you wear? And I'm like, I'm gonna send him a box of these. Like, he's the kind of guy that I would love to go and step into that octagon and beat the freaking crap out of for 25 minutes. We both get bonuses. We both go, kiss our wives and our kids and enjoy our lives. But he's one of those guys. He's one of the good ones, man. So if that's what Dana wants, who am I to let him down, man? I took 0 damage in this fight. I'm ready to go out there and compete again ASAP. Whether it's in the sands of Abu Dhabi or under the bright lights of Las Vegas or anywhere in between, I'm ready.
Michael, right here. How would you compare this victory to you've obviously been in a lot of title fights. The Benson Henderson one was a big one going into your contract. But how would you compare this to your Bellator victories?
This is the greatest victory of my life. Listen, it's you talk about stage, you talk about platform, you talk about opportunity, you talk about tons of doubters, and rightfully so. Tons of people that said I was going to go out there and get my chin kneed into the stands and get sent back to the B leagues and all kinds of stuff. And there was a lot of people saying that, and it's part of it. This one was a satisfying one, and I wasn't here to prove the doubters wrong, but I was here to prove the believers and the supporters and my fans and my family and my followers right. All those people who have followed me since my High Ridge, Missouri days, my Mizzou wrestling days, all the way in through Bellator and now here into the UFC, everybody who has stood by me through thick and thin, through all the ups and all the downs, we did it, and we're moving forward.
Did you get to say anything to Dan after? It seems like he took his gloves off and threw him into the octagon, so we were a little confused about that too.
Yeah, I mean, I just said thank you for the opportunity, man. You're a warrior. He was very down. I'm not a big talk to your opponent after you win. I'm really not. I actually think it's one of the most disrespectful things in the sport. I think it's absolutely the worst when you choke a guy out or you knock him out. As soon as he comes to, you start hugging him and kissing him, and it's just no. Like, let the man take his loss. Let him breathe. Let him do his thing inside of his head. I'm not there to be the holier than thou great, God of sportsmanship to pick him up when he's dust him off. No, let him enjoy, not enjoy, but let him deal with what he just went through. Because trust me, I've been through it too, and I don't want anybody to look at me, touch me, talk to me for about a week. So.
And then in the main event, when you're watching, in terms of actually how the fight played out, Conor obviously going for the shoulder strikes, Dustin going for the calf kicks. That was when it turned. So when you're watching that, was it playing out how you expected? And if not, what was going through your mind?
It was. I think Conor was fighting calm, composed, precise, and Dustin kind of seemed like he was buying his time a little bit. I mean, we all know Dustin's a cardio machine. We all know that he can push into those later rounds, and I think that he probably wanted to get into those later rounds unless he got Conor up against the cage, hit him with a barrage of shots, hit him in the temple, and knocked him down like he did. It was playing out exactly kind of how I thought. The fight materialized exactly how it did, and Dustin Poirier looked phenomenal tonight. Conor will dust himself back off and come on back soon.
Mike, right here. Right here in front of you. Oh. Someone posted a picture of you before your walkout, and it says that you told this person that you felt better than ever. What was going through your mind when you're walking to the arena?
As untouchable as I've ever felt in my entire life. I just felt confident. I felt good. I felt calm. I felt happy. I'm always happy to compete. Listen, God has given me some great gifts, 2 capable arms, 2 capable legs to do something that not a lot of people get to do, that a lot of people look at. You right now are asking me questions about it. Like, you know, this is an amazing life that I get to live. And I've had a lot of highlights in my career, a lot of great times in my career. But this was by far the best. It really was. The pressure, the lights, the platform, the pay-per-view, the names, the everything. It was just huge. You couldn't have scripted a better chapter in my career. Now a new chapter, a blank canvas, a masterpiece that I can paint, that every single day painting a new brushstroke so my son Hap can see it someday and know that his dad did everything that he possibly could with the talents that he was given. And that's just the way that I felt. I just say, thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus, for this opportunity. Said it 1,000 times on the way there. And the fight happened how it happened. And here we are. I'll see you at the top.
My last question is, you just mentioned your son, and it's his birthday. It was yesterday, but it's still his birthday in America.
Yeah.
And, was that a gift you want to give him?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's the thing that I want to give him the most is my time, my love, me being there. And it's painful at times. It's tough. It's tough being away from him. But he will know, without a shadow of a doubt, that every man has to work. And what we do with our life can impact people. It can change people's lives. It can help people fight the fights that they're going through. And he will see this masterpiece that I'm painting, and he'll know that even though his dad wasn't there all the time, and yes, I missed a birthday, or we're away from each other for short periods of time, that I was out there pursuing God's best for my life, and he will in turn do that someday. And that kid is going to speak to nations. He's going to change his generation. He's going to lead his generation. I promise you that. And I just hope that I can lead by example. And it was a phenomenal night. And I can't wait to get on that plane and get back home.
Michael, here.
Hey.
I don't know if you follow this type of things, but Patricio Pitbull posted a message for you, calling you his son, but he also said that you will be the next champion of the UFC. What do you make of these comments of Patricio?
I will.
And he said it even before your fight today.
I will.
The next thing, I know you one step at a time, you probably will fight for a title, but in your future, do you think about going after the champ status at some point?
If the opportunity presents itself, I'll tell you what. There's a lot of great fights in this organization. I mean, this is the mecca of great fights. There's a ton of great fights. I am by no means a welterweight. I definitely can't make featherweight. But I am by no means a welterweight height. 155 is the perfect weight class for me. It's a great. I feel good there. The weight's not the easiest to make. So I'd love to fight some guys at 170. I'd love to test my hand at welterweight, but it's got to be the right guy. You know, there's a BMF belt out there. There's the possible welterweight belt if I ever did go up, but it's got to be the right fights. There's no shortage of great fights in this lightweight division. I mean, look at the guys that fought tonight. So we'll see. 155 is where I need to be, where I like to be, where I want to capture my first title, and then we'll go from there.
And you have been training with Gilbert Burns. What can you say about his chance against Kamaru Usman?
He is the man. That Gilbert Burns lives it. Inside the gym, outside the gym, family man, great human being. I think you're going to see Gilbert Burns as the next champion. I think where he's at mentally, where he's at physically, he is a large human being. The fact that he ever made 155 is it blows my mind. We worked together for this fight. He had a lot of insight on Dan Hooker. He's the best ground technician on the ground in the world, in my opinion. Power in both hands. I can't wait to see that fight. Obviously, Kamaru Usman is a friend of mine, former teammate, but I believe Gilbert Burns will be able to get that done.
I just asked Dana White if your UFC debut was the most impressive one he's ever seen, and he said that he can't think of a better one. I'm sure you were very much prepared for this fight, but did you really, at any stage, expect this scenario?
Man, at this point, you got to stop second guessing God's best for your life. You do, you know, like, well, maybe I don't deserve it. Maybe it'll be a lackluster performance. Hey, Eddie lost his first fight. He still became champion. All these things that human beings go through. We all go through these crazy thoughts. Why not just let it fly? Why not just believe that you are the best in the world? Why not just believe that you can accomplish great things? So you couldn't have scripted it any better. Listen to Dana say that, saying, you know, me and Dustin possibly for the title next. Who knows? Like, even the fact that I'm getting talked about at next fight being for the title, that being said, that's great news. UFC debut, I wanted to come in here and do something great. You know, the word of the week was always remarkable, you know, or spectacular, or whatever the word was that everybody wanted to see. What is one of them cool adjectives? But that's what I go for every single fight. You know, I've never been in a boring fight. I've lost some fights, but they were always exciting. So couldn't have scripted it any better. I took 0 damage. We live to fight another day, and can't wait to get back in there. I can't wait to get out there, celebrate with my team, and then also talk to the UFC brass and see what is about to happen. Maybe we can get Khabib on the phone. We'll see.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How many times did you rehearse Michael, to your left here? How many times did you rehearse the Ric Flair post-fight interview?
I thought about it a couple times. You know, so the origination of that was actually DC and Ariel talking about why I was in the video game. Ariel said I shouldn't have been in the video game. I hadn't fought in the UFC yet. And DC was like, well, yeah, but he's Ric Flair. He came over from WCW, and he got the title shot right away. Everybody was mad, but, you know, he's Ric Flair. So kind of funny. I'm actually not the biggest WWE pro wrestling guy, but it was the best day of my professional career. You know, I didn't do the whole tear in my eye thing. I thought that was a little over the top, you know, and then the call-outs came after that.
You say it's the best day of your career, but you're a 3-time Bellator lightweight champion. Do you think that it's the best day of your career? Because obviously, as we talked about in the build-up, there were people that were doubting your legitimacy, and obviously you incised them in emphatic fashion.
Yeah, listen, I mean, it depends on what you fight for. Do you fight for money? Do you fight for cars, glitz, glam? Do you fight because you like to fight and inflict harm on people? You know, I think I like all of those things in moderation or to a certain extent. But the biggest thing that I want to do with this career, with the talents that God has given me, is be on the biggest stage, the biggest platform, to have the loudest voice possible. It doesn't get any better than the co-main event, sharing the Octagon right before Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier go out there. 2 of the most electrifying lightweights on the planet. It doesn't get any bigger than that. I can't wait to see the numbers. Every single one of those people saw my fight. It wasn't like, you know, it wasn't the first fight of the night and people were just kind of, maybe I'll buy it, maybe I won't. It was the co-main event. I was warming up the Octagon for 2 of the baddest dudes, 2 of the biggest superstars on the planet. Doesn't get any bigger than that platform. So yes, best day of my professional career because I was able to have this voice, have this platform, have this opportunity.
And what's been the reaction from the friends and family? Your phone must just be blowing up right now, right?
It is. I haven't talked to anybody besides my wife. Called her right away. You know, she was in tears. She's proud of me. That woman, I would not be sitting here today doing what I'm able to do without that woman. Her support, her selflessness, her sacrifice. She's a career woman herself, so she's working a full-time job, getting extra degrees, becoming a doctor, taking care of our son, taking out the trash, doing all the stuff that I should be doing. So I can't wait to get on that plane and go see her. But phone's blowing up, social media is blowing up, obviously. So it's great. This is just the part of the ride, and here we go, heading to the top.
Finally, you were eyeing them during the media day. Do you want another brownie? I saved one for you.
Oh my gosh, yes I do. You have a brownie right now?
Yes, I do.
All right,
consider
it mine. You know, you're a swell guy. You are a swell guy. Thank you.
I wish my fiance thought that.
Mike, over here to your left.
Yeah.
You've talked a lot about what you think a fight with Khabib would look like, but if you end up fighting Dustin, what do you think that fight looks like?
Listen, as I said, as a human being, I think Dustin Poirier, you don't get any better than that. Also, just his story, where he came from. He's like every other young kid from a small town who had some rough patches and what they wasn't quite sure where the direction in life he was going to go. And now look at him. Look where he's at. Look what he's done. Look what he's accomplished. It's nothing short of amazing. Dustin Poirier is a fight that I think is a great matchup for me. I think it's a fight the fans want to see. I mean, at this point, now that I'm finally a UFC fighter, now that I'm finally a guy who's got to win in the Octagon, a guy who kind of can say, hey, I'm one of the guys now, I think the fans are like, okay, now I want to see that Chandler guy fight again, and why not Dustin Poirier? Respect him in every sense of the word, and business is business. We go out there, we touch gloves, and then we collect our paychecks, and we go take care of our families.
And last thing, you mentioned you are a UFC fighter now, UFC
Finally.
winner. Can you just describe what the experience was like compared to, obviously, past experiences in your fighting career, fighting in this venue, the environment, Bruce Buffer introing you, and just all those things?
It was, the Bruce Buffer thing. That was something that I roomed with my best friend Randall, and manager Randall this whole week. And this morning we're going over he does a great Bruce Buffer impression. So we were just going over that, and it was surreal, but it helped me visualize. It helped me see everything. It helped me be in that octagon before I got there. The whole experience has been nothing short of amazing. That first trip to Abu Dhabi was great because I got to meet everybody, all my coworkers and all the people I'm going to be spending time with for the next 5 years or whatever, the remainder of my career. And it's been great. Obviously, everything is just much bigger. I've been competing at a high level for a long time, but everything is just much bigger here. This is a well-oiled machine, and the organization of the UFC, what they're doing on a worldwide stage is just it's great to be a part of it. Glad to intro myself on this stage, get that first round knockout, and man, it's kind of surreal that this whole thing is over now and I'm about to hop on the plane and we got the win. You always visualize this moment, and it's kind of just hitting you. So it's great.
Michael, over here, mate. So Dana said he's not a fan of the backflip.
That was the first backflip I've ever done in my entire career, off the cage.
I mean,
so,
the landing, I was worried.
Well, I always do backflips, from the canvas to canvas, not cage to canvas. But so I'm really sorry, Dana, about that. But legs are great. My effing ankles and effing knees, or whatever he said earlier, they're good. They're fine.
He also said he didn't quite hear what you said to him in the cage. So do you want to relay the message to him?
I don't quite know either. I was blacked out. I won't remember any of this either. No, but probably just something about Khabib. Listen, I was sitting back there over there at the side of this press conference. I'm like, dadgum, dude, you must not want to come back. If you don't want to come back, that's fine. But don't act like your level's above me. I promise you I will bury that man. I'm getting mad thinking about it. But I would love to fight him. But like I said, he's the champion for a reason. He deserves to sail off in the sunset. So no more backflips because of my effing ankles and effing knees. But yeah, I just said, let's go, man. I'm excited. He's probably said something about the promo I cut at the end. We'll see.
And going back to Khabib's retirement, obviously your road to the UFC, a lot of people would have liked to have seen you here a lot earlier. But will it be a bit sad that you don't get to test yourself against Khabib, obviously undefeated, the man who many consider to be the greatest lightweight champion of all? Would it feel a bit almost tainted if you won the title and it wasn't against him?
To know that he's out there and still in his prime, it's a little tough to pill to swallow, because when a guy retires because he's past his prime or he just barely held on long enough to retire. Did like GSP, did he retire with the title? Yeah, he retired with the title and just wanted to. But he had earned that right, just like Khabib did. But he was kind of past his prime a little bit. Not really. I think our primes, that what we think a fighter's prime is much later than most people would say. Everybody says it's a young man's game. It's not. Every superstar on this roster is post 30 now, almost. So it will be a little bittersweet if it's not against Khabib, because I think he's the greatest of all time thus far in the lightweight division. But as I said, if we fight, he's going to be 29 in Chandler. Thank you, guys.
Conor, clearly, I'm sure frustrated with the result, not what you were hoping for, but what are the emotions like for you right now?
Yeah, it's heartbreaking, John. You know, it's hard to take. The highest highs and the lowest lows in this game. My leg is completely dead, and even though I felt like I was checking them, it was just sinking into the front, the muscle at the front of the leg, and it was badly compromised. And it's like an American football in me suit at the minute. So, you know, it is what it is. Dustin fought a hell of a fight, engaged in the takedown attempt. I thought I'd done well. I got up, turned him. I was in my head thinking in that second round, just tie up now. I felt all right in the clinch with him. I was better than him in the clinch. But too little, too late. The leg was compromised, and I didn't adjust. And that's it. Fair play to Dustin. Very happy for him. Very happy that I got to compete in these times and come back my 11th UFC main event. And that's it. It's hard, you know. I don't know where I'm at the minute, to be honest.
We think about, you know, your mental toughness and what you're made of. I mean, was that difficult for you to know, like, this leg just isn't working anymore? Like, I'm dead in here.
Look, I was going to tough it out. Do you know what I mean? I toughed it out as much as I could, but it was an unusual one, that's for sure. Where I would feel okay in sparring or something, checking that side. I felt like I lifted the leg up multiple times, but it just sunk into the muscle at the front and it was badly compromised. And then Dustin had good solid defense as well, so when I was pressing forward with the shots, he was defending well. It is what it is. He fought a hell of a fight, and that's it. What can you do? I'm happy for him.
You said the inactivity just caught up to you. I mean, is it physical? Is it a timing? Is it what was the cost of the inactivity?
It's the whole shebang. Do you know what I mean? But I have no excuses here. It was a phenomenal performance by Dustin. And that's it, you know. I don't know what to say. I'm going to go back and going to chill out and I'll watch the full fight and get a better grasp on it. But the leg was compromised and I was rushing the shots a little bit, and, you know, I didn't adjust, and that's that. You know, it's a bitter pill to swallow, and I don't even know whether I'm that upset. I don't know. I don't know what to say. You know.
Last thing for me, Conor. Dana was here earlier, and he said, like, he hadn't talked to you yet, but he's like, this could go one of two ways. Either A, Conor gets hungry, you know what I mean, and it drives him, and he comes back, you know, better than ever, or he walks away. You know, he's got money in the bank. He doesn't need to do this. As you sit there right now, which of those two paths sounds right?
Yeah, you know, I'll certainly regroup. I'll regroup and pick myself up, you know what I mean? Get up off the floor and go again, and that's it. Styles make fights. There's many great stylistic matchups out there. Myself and Dustin are 1-1. Myself and Nate are 1-1. You know, there's many good matchups for me, and I'll adopt a different approach for the trilogy, I feel, with Dustin, because, you know, those leg kicks are not to be messed with, you know what I mean? That calf kick, the low calf kick, I've never experienced that, and it was a good one. So it's not that I haven't got the style in me to switch it up and keep that at bay. And I've a lot more weapons. I didn't get the show. It wasn't my night. It wasn't a great night, but again, no excuses, hats off. And, you know, regroup and pick myself up. I look forward to going back now, seeing the kids, and just taking the licks, man. It's a bastard of a game. But it is what it is. I there's not a mark on my face. I wasn't rattled with anything. It's just I had no leg. And fair fucking play to him. He fought well, and yeah, I look forward to watching it back.
Conor, was the leg something that you felt growing over time as he landed more shots, or did it suddenly happen because in the final sequence there's a moment where it looks like your leg suddenly goes dead and your balance goes?
Yeah, it was an accumulated for sure. I knew when I seen he had Thiago Alves in the corners like these, you know, I knew what was coming. I knew they were going to try and kick I knew he likes to kick the low kick. He's also experienced that kick before himself, taking it. So that's my first time to experience that. So, but one of them sunk in early, and Thiago said that was a good one. And I was in my head thinking, yeah, bastard, it was a good one. And then it just started accumulating up. But you know, fuck it is what it is, man. I'm not that upset over it, which is another weird one for me. You know what I mean? I'm happy I put in an immense amount of work. I gave it me all. I'll regroup for sure. You know what I mean? I'll adopt maybe a different stance, and you know, every opponent has a different, you have to approach things differently with everyone. And southpaws and that back kick wrapping around the front part of the muscle on that low leg is something that I must adjust to. So it's not within me to do that. So that's what I will do.
Dustin looks like he's going to go on and fight for a title. Now, you mentioned his name. Do you think now's the time to do the Nate rematch? Would that be a fight that makes sense for you, or you're not even thinking about
No, I'm not. I was just kind of like thinking, I have a lot of, like I said, styles make fights. I adopted a similar approach against Nate, but I was above the leg. It was the leg kick above. And that low one is an interesting one for sure. It's a very interesting kick. Same stance. Opposite stance, it's nothing. You know what I mean? He threw a right low kick and I checked it clean. But the outside one's wrapping around, and even though I felt like I turned the leg out, checked it, and you have to almost turn it right out, and it has to hit the bone, it can't hit the muscle. And that's it. Me and Dustin now, he's, with his 1-1. For sure we'll go again. I hurt him in the first round. He got a good takedown. I turned him against the fence. Caught him on a nice elbow, caught him on a nice spinning hook kick. I should have more activity. I feel I would have straight away. As soon as I was catching loads of the kicks, he was like kicking, I was catching it. Straight away then I should have just closed and clinched him. You know what I mean? So I've got all the moves and all the skills in me game. Do you know what I mean? And I felt I was out clinching him, and I felt stronger than him. So I didn't adjust in time, and that's it. It is what it is.
You mentioned the clinch. There was a moment where you were both against the cage, trading shoulder shots with each other, and it looked like you were having a conversation or something. Were you guys talking to each other?
Yeah, just the usual crack. You know what I mean? Back and forth, 1 for 1 it was. But I felt I had the better ones anyway.
And last thing for me, Conor, you say you're sitting there and you're not upset, and that's a bit of a weird one. Is part of that because this is something that you could really love to do, otherwise you wouldn't be doing it anymore? And the fact is, despite the loss, you finally have been able to compete again for the first time in a year. John mentioned about, people worry you might sort of go off and leave the game. Are you still happy right now? Are you happy that you just got to compete?
I am happy. I'm disappointed, and but I'm happy for sure. Like I got to come out here and do this fight here in the Middle East, put on a show for the people. I done my best, and things don't go your way at times, but pick yourself up and carry on. I've got a lot of good things going in my life. Do you know what I mean? So I just keep my head high, and that's it. And take the shots, take the licks, and just fucking keep on going.
Thanks very much, Conor.
Right here. A lot was made coming into this fight of the sheer size of Dustin. Like a lot of people said, he was cutting down from 180 to 155. Did you feel the strength or size of him in there?
No. I was way stronger in the clinch, you know what I mean? I turned him against the fence, I had him pinned, and he wasn't. It's just, we both had to make one. Well, I made 155, they made 160, 156, but no. He just fought he fought a good fight, an experienced fight. He's been in here a lot, almost more than double the amount of time I've been in here in the cage, and that's it. It's a hard, you keep showing up, you'll get there. And like I said, I'm very happy for Dustin and his wife and the things that they've been doing. I'm proud and honoured, like I said before, proud and honoured to share the octagon with him, and we're one apiece.
Then I don't want to sour your mood, but Khabib has responded to your loss on Twitter. He says, this is what he wrote. He goes, "This is what happened when you change your team, leaving the sparring partners who made you a champion and sparring with little kids far away from reality." Do you have a response to that at all?
My team has been the team since day one. I've not changed any team. It is what it is, Respect the athletes, and that's the character of the man for sure, behind the mask. And what's he want to do? Does he want to come back or no? Because he's not throwing no leg kicks. You know what I mean? I got up off Dustin. I got up off the ground against Dustin. I turned Dustin. You know what I mean? Look at little pockets of that sequence where he's fights. Like I said, styles make fights. Every fight is a different fight. That's why all this prestige and all that people try and hold on to. I don't hold on to that. You know what I mean? Whether someone has multiple wins or multiple losses. You know what I mean? Every fight between every man is different. And that's it. Dustin's style just played into it today, and he has the durability, he has experience, and he has that leg kick now in his arsenal. And I'll adjust and keep going. So, but if he wants to have his disrespectful comments, come back and let's go again, man. You know what I mean? I'm here for it.
Yeah,
So
Dana did say it's not.
that's fighting talk. So if he's not, you know what I mean? If you're coming back, come back. You try and do it. You know what I mean? So that's that.
One of the main comments right now on social media from all the fans is even legends can lose. How do you feel to have such an amazing fan base that supports you till the end?
I'm very, very grateful for the support I receive. You know what I mean? It's got me up off the floor many times throughout my competitive life and my personal life. And that's what I said. I'm proud and honoured to come here before you and put a show on for the people of the world. You know what I mean? To do this through the Christmas, to go to 155, to give it the shot. I've done this for the support, for the fans. You know what I mean? For the people that support me. And all I can say is I'm sorry I let the side down. And you know, I'm fresh, I'm healthy. There was no trauma blows. There was no, you know what I mean? It's just my leg is like a football. Below me knee is literally like a football or an American football inside me suit pants. So it went right up into the hip, and I hope in Thailand when they give themselves whacks with the old with the stick to strengthen up the shins. I hope now I'm at the getting that little durability in that muscle now. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm at the developing the antibodies or something. You know what I mean? If you want to put it like that. So I'll adjust and keep the head high. It'll be a rough few days and that, but I'm gonna go back and gonna enjoy my kids, have fun. It's morning here. You know what I mean? I'm gonna still do my thing, have me proper Irish coffee, have me pancakes, go back to the yacht. We've a child on the way this summer. There's a lot of good in my life, and I'll be smiling and I'll be happy, and that's it.
Hey Conor, a wise man once said, "He who fears being conquered is sure of defeat." And although we didn't get to see the masterpiece that you intended on creating tonight, we got to see a sensational display of heart, charisma, and pride all week. I feel that the people that will take the most away from this will be your children, leading by example in defeat. And if that's not a masterclass, I don't know what is. Do you agree?
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. You've been great all week. You know, you're bringing things back that make me well up.
Thank you.
I'm very happy to have my kids here and my family with me side by side. And I am who I am at this time. You know what I mean? I'm a different man for sure. The competitive fire is still in me, and like I said, I will regroup and adjust and come back. You know, I've done it before, and I'll do it again.
Thank you, my friend.
Conor, here, we know that you are the type of fighter that always like to engage with the audience, with the fans. How was the experience today? And looking to the future, do you consider fighting in the UFC PAX with no fans?
I thought it was great. It was just like fighting on the prelims. You know, I felt good. And that's it. I felt no different. You know, inside the octagon is inside the octagon, and I just need more time in there. You know what I mean? Just to be settled, and then I just need to make me adjustments and go for it.
And after what we saw today with Michael Chandler, I don't know if you had the opportunity to watch the knockouts.
I did, yeah. I thought it was a beautiful knockout. Fair play to him, came in now, and that's it. It was a good fight.
Dana said that probably this will be the next title fight. Who do you pick, Chandler or Poirier?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. You know, don't just write me off, yeah. You know what I mean? I'll make me adjustments and keep moving. So anything can happen in this game, and I'll go back, I'll get healthy, and I'll re-prepare. I've built an incredible, you know, I've got to a great place in my body physically, and I'm going to continue to grow on that. You know what I mean? I'll get the swelling down in the leg, and I'll get back to my training, my cardiovascular work, my strength work, my skills work, and just keep living the martial arts life.
Conor, can I just over this way? Sorry, bud. You've spoken. There's so many people talking about you when it's like Manny Pacquiao or Floyd Mayweather and getting into boxing and all of that kind of stuff. Does something like today make you think, I want to concentrate on one thing, or are you still going to be kind of open-minded to do that?
Jeez, there's none of them leg kicks in boxing anyway. You know what I mean? But And now look, I always did want to. I always did want to focus on my MMA career, but I'm also open. You know what I mean? I just see what happens. I don't know what'll happen. That many fight was happening. You know what I mean? It was as good as done. So, I don't know, man. I just want to get in and just, get back into a bounce, and especially against that style of fighter, and not take those kicks. You know what I mean? Don't play with those kicks. And although I don't know, it's just a motherfucker to take, man. That's my mind's going. So I'm just trying to replay all the sequences and that. I haven't watched the fight back yet. I just had a shower and came here, and I look forward to watching it back.
Now, how did you feel like in that first round though? Because I thought, just me here, that your striking was going really well and stuff. Was it just a case of that first kick where you was like,
It wasn't just it just kept, it just kept building up. You know what I mean? And then I threw one or two. Do you know what I mean? I was like, throw your kicks, man. You know what I mean? I wanted to let him work. Even when we were in the clinch, he got to take down, and I got back up and turned him. I was like, right, lovely. I'm getting more time in the octagon. That was in my head. I was like, lovely now. I get a bit more time in here now. So I wasn't in a hurry. And you know me, I come in, wow, and I go over it. So there's a lot in my head now. I'm not even like, oh, maybe I need to go back that way. I'm gonna be who I am in the moment and take things as they come, and that's it.
You say the Pacquiao fight is probably on the back burner now. Is that because of the leg, I assume?
I don't know how long this is. It's not. It's muscle. It's all muscle. It's just deep into the muscle, and it's just a complete dead leg right the way up. It's no bone, no nothing, not a mark on the head. I'm just bleeding gutted, man. It's just I'd rather a lumping, you know what I mean, instead of a bleeding dead leg. But it is what it is, man. Fair play to him. It was a smart fight. He got the shot. He got me down in the first. Man, I should have just tied up in the fucking. When I caught a few of them kicks, I should have bladed and just pressed him against the fence and keep beating him in the fence. Hit him with a lovely elbow in the temple that hurt him. Should have just kept mauling him. Do you know what I mean? I felt well stronger than him. Well stronger. So, maybe I'll switch up my game the next time we fight Dustin. Maybe you'll see a grappling side of me the next time me and Dustin go ahead. I just have to be able to. I just have to keep going and just be able to go through the disciplines seamlessly, and make the correct decisions in there. And only that'll only come with time in the octagon. You can do 1 billion rounds outside, but without time inside the octagon live, it's a hard thing to do. So I've got away with it the last while, but not tonight.
I mean, lastly from me, I want to talk about kind of evolution of your character that we've seen. You're very humble and you've been very respectful and classy for this whole process. Talk to me. Do you think like becoming a father has really brought that out of you, and that makes you appreciate things like this that much more? You can go to your family after this. That's why you're maybe not as upset, is what you said.
Yeah, but I mean, of course. But I'm not. I am upset. I'm upset. You know what I mean? I'm sad, but I'm still content. You know what I mean? I'm happy, and like you said, I've got a lot going. So. It's not nice going back without the win. You know what I mean? That's for sure. But life is like that sometimes, and we pick ourselves up and keep going.
Conor, just real quick to your left over here. I know you would have rather had the win, but Dana did say when he was in here that this was one of the 2 or 3 highest selling pay-per-views in UFC history. What does that mean to you, and kind of say about your drawing power still at this point?
Yeah, it's always good. I tried to come in and give a show. All across the board in the lead up and in the fight week and in the fight itself. Sometimes you come in here and make magic, and sometimes you don't. I'm happy with all my records, and I'm happy that I got to compete and do it again. And it is what it is.
What do you think is a bigger trilogy, Dustin or Diaz?
I think they're both pretty big. 2 southpaws as well, which is interesting. Yeah. They're both there, so see what happens.
Is there one you want more?
Yeah, I don't know. I just want to regroup for a minute, to be honest. You know what I mean? I want to just watch the fight and see where I'm at. Right now, I'd probably say Dustin, obviously. You know what I mean? It's fresh. And that's it, so.
Fill up. Thank you.
Conor, just one last question here, over here to your right. Just over here. The other day you were saying, what does the champ do? He does it again. The lightweight title, where do you see yourself in that now? Is that something that you really feel you want to regain before you retire, or are you comfortable just taking the fights you just mentioned?
No, I would like to get in and get back on the horse and secure the new belt with the Irish flag on it for sure. And anything can happen in this business, you know, as long as you stay active, as long as you compete, things shape around you, you know what I mean? You show up, you reap the rewards, and that's it. That's what's happened for Dustin tonight, and you know, and it's what's happened against me tonight. So, I'll keep me eye on the prize for sure. All right, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Thank you all.
Dustin, congratulations. Obviously not a title fight, but still a pretty big one, right? So talk about the fear right now and just kind of where this ranks as a career moment for you.
It's definitely, I mean, it's up there. Beating Max, getting that interim belt, knocking out Conor on a pay-per-view main event. It's up there for sure. I'm happy, man.
All the discussion kind of coming into this was like about your mental check, you know, and it wasn't going to be a difficult mental battle versus necessarily just, you know, tactics and that sort of things. Was this a tough mental test to get in there that first minute and put all that behind?
I wasn't even thinking about the first fight, honestly. But every fight's a mental test. You know, this stuff is scary, and you have anxiety in the locker room and the week of the fight. More so this one, man. Like training camp, all that stuff, it gets blocked out. That's all noise to me. But this freaking thing, dude, I'm sitting in a hotel for 2 weeks on Fight Island with nothing to do but think about the fight. You know, it's but like Conor said, I've got a lot of experience in this game, and like I've said, I just don't care anymore what anyone thinks. So it's whatever.
You used the wrestling early, which we thought would probably be a big factor, but ended up getting it done on the feet. So was the game plan to use more wrestling, or did you think you'd be able to just outstrike them?
The game plan was to not be heavy on my feet and throw power shots and box early. The game plan was to kick and wrestle and box, to mix it up and make it a mixed martial arts fight, to kick inside, to kick outside. Mike Brown was real big on me throwing calf kicks this fight, really big on it, really wanted me to, and it worked, man. You know, we compromised his leg, and he was in a bad position early, just from the repeated leg kicks. Even when he started checking, he wasn't contacting with the shin. He wasn't, you know, like a small rotation more, I would have been paying for those kicks, but I was still getting the muscle of his leg, and that part of your leg and muscle is so small and thin that you can't take many shots there, you know. After the second leg kick, I knew he was hurting.
He says he wants to regroup and come back, and what do you think? Is a trilogy in order somewhere down the line? Do you think it has to happen at some point?
I mean, we're 1-1 for knockouts, right? This is CTE Island. This ain't Fight Island. We'll see. We'll see what I don't know. You know, I can't tell the future. But we're 1-1. We both TKO'd each other. So you probably have to do it again, right?
I like it. Dana was here a little bit earlier, so he spoke to Khabib. It doesn't look like Khabib's going to come back right now. Are you okay with that? And if so, it seems like, you know, Chandler would probably be the fight for the title. You and him, does that make sense to you?
No, it does not. Respect to Chandler. Great win over a guy. But to come in and beat a guy I just beat and get a title shot, dude, I've been in, what is this, 27, 28 fights in the UFC, trying to, you know, everything, fighting the toughest of the toughest guys to get my hands on gold. You know, he should fight Charles Oliveira or something. Let Chandler and Charles Oliveira go at it. That doesn't really interest me at this point. I'm going to sell hot sauce if that's the case.
Last thing for me, I guess they were saying on the broadcast, did you went over to Cormier and the broadcast, he was like, I don't even like this, I don't like this anymore. What was that about?
I just felt like in the locker room, I just felt flat. I mean, I'm damn good at it, but I just, you know, felt flat, and I just felt like really calm, and I don't know. It's hard to put into to say, but that's it exactly. I don't really like this anymore. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'm not, dude. I got so many ass whippings left to hand out. I feel like I'm just hitting my prime, right? And just putting everything together. My body and my mind are finally on the same wavelength, and just turned 32 this week. We'll see what happens, man. I don't know. Only part I liked was the fight this whole last 2 weeks. So if that, I don't know if that answers a question or draws more questions, but I didn't enjoy the process these last 2 weeks. The only part I liked was fighting.
Dustin, right here. There was a moment in the first round when you were trading shoulder strikes, talking to each other. Is that something you had worked on, or did you just throw it back?
I always talk trash to these guys. Ask any of my opponents. I'm always having fun in there and talking and stuff. No, I hit him with the shoulder strike. I forget what I told him. I said, "How about that clavicle?" or something silly, you know. Yeah, that was it. And then he hit me with a good knee, and I said, and I told him that was a great. I said, "Great shot. That was a good one."
And then finally, just to clarify, you're willing to just wait, see if they give you a title shot, see what else happens behind you?
Well, I'm not waiting for nothing. I'm going home, be with my family. I'm going back being dad. I'm going to sell hot sauce. I'm going to work with my foundation. I have so many things happening outside of fighting right now. This is just something I do.
Dustin, over here to you, right? You said that you were talking to him. Was he talking back, or was he staying quiet?
He wasn't really. I think he said something when he landed a shoulder. He might have said something, but he wasn't talking. Well, yeah, it wasn't a whole lot of chatter going on, just in that mix of shoulder strikes against the fence.
You mentioned you didn't enjoy the process of this. Is that like part of that due to the size of the fight, how much media you had to do, and all the attention on you?
I don't know. I think part of it might be from fucking spinning my wheels for 2 weeks sitting in a hotel room. You call this Fight Island, but man, this is Fight Hotel. We couldn't leave the property. I'm sitting for 2 weeks cutting weight. The furthest I can go is to the workout room. You know, this was like I was in a prison in my own mind over here, man.
You got to listen to the race cars, though.
It drove me fucking nuts yesterday. Yesterday, I was like, dude, I thought yesterday was the worst day, right? And this is the day before the fight. I'm sitting there. I'm like, I'm about to jump off the balcony.
You mentioned that a fight with Michael Chandler doesn't really interest you at the moment. What does interest you? Would you rather just do a rematch with Conor? Would you like to look elsewhere? What does interest you?
I mean, a rematch with Conor interests me. Always wanted to whip Nate Diaz's ass. That interests me. In fighting, that's about, I mean, I'm sure something will make sense, but just right now, I don't know. You know, me and Conor are 1-1. Nate Diaz got away and likes to talk a lot of shit online. But I just got to go back home and we'll see.
Do you think there is something to Conor's thing about inactivity hurting him?
Possible. Everybody's different. You know, I've seen guys that not affect, and you know, ring rust is real if you allow it to be. I just assumed it wouldn't be for Conor. That's how I approached this fight because I thought he was in Portugal and he has a training camp going built around him. He's putting in the work every day, so I think you would be sharp and your timing would be good. When the like real life timing of a fight, I feel like I get that in training camps. You know, so I don't think ring rust would be a thing for me unless it's mental, you know, like a mental worrying about performing again, maybe. I don't know. To each his own, I guess.
And last thing for me, a lot of it was made of your durability at 155 versus 145. You took the shot from at 145, it finished you, but tonight you took a few shots. Did any of them hurt you, phase you at all, or did you feel like you could take them quite comfortably?
No, he hurt me. He hurt me with the left hand. My legs, nothing went. But he flashed me good, and if he would have pressured and I would have got hit again, I think I would have been really hurt.
Dustin, it's very obvious that you won the hearts of the fan when you were going out victorious tonight. Talk us through that feeling, and how did it feel to hear all those chants for Conor while fighting? How did you get through that or overcome them while fighting?
It's been, I fought one time last year, and there was no fans, so it's been a while since I got booed. It's been a while since I walked out to boos. I walked back to the locker room with cheers, though. I heard that. So I heard the boos on the entry, and I heard the cheers on the exit. And that's exactly what a lot of these MMA fans are, fair weather. So that's why I don't hold that stuff close to me. You know, it doesn't mean anything.
Dustin, down here, obviously you come out to James Brown all the time, pay the cost to be the boss. I mean, just from your reaction there, like,
the hardest working man.
Could it be any more fitting given the magnitude of this victory?
Yeah, I was thinking about coming out to the big payback, but this isn't payback. This isn't about that. That's not what this was to me. That's not what this training camp was to me. This was about progress. This was about prosperity. This was about putting my family in the position we're in now. It was a lot of things, but it wasn't payback. That's great. Now that the fight's over and stuff like that, I'm glad I got him back. That's cool. It makes for a great storyline, and it feels good. But that wasn't the driving force of this.
And your career has had a lot of peaks and a lot of valleys. But where do you rank this win in your your list of top victories?
It's up there, especially the finishing a guy who's never been finished like that. It's up there, man. You know, touching that UFC interim belt was so important to me. And, you know, putting my hands on the Undisputed World title before this is all said and done is what I want to absolutely do, man. But this is a big win.
And I know you're still taking in everything and whatever, but ideally, have you thought about when you'd like to come back? Because obviously you only fought once last year.
I don't know what's next, honestly. I got to get home, speak to Dana, speak to the UFC, just see what's making sense, you know. But I can guarantee I won't be fighting Michael Chandler. They can do whatever they want with the division. I don't really care. But if something happens that makes sense, then we'll do it. But
thank you, man.
Dustin, here, in front of you, right here. Before the fight, Mike Brown, your coach, said that sometimes you are kind of an emotional fighter. And I would like to understand if it was hard for you during this fight with Conor, especially at the end of the first round. You got some blows, but you got composure. But then at the second round, you kind of flipped the coin, you know, and got some speed and got the knockout. How was that process for you to deal with emotions inside the octagon with Conor?
tonight is one of the best I've ever felt, honestly. I was emotionless. I was an assassin, and I was here to execute. You know, I was locked in, man, locked and loaded. I felt nothing. I felt very focused. It was a great feeling. Like I said, I didn't enjoy the warming up. I didn't enjoy the week of sitting in 2 weeks of sitting in a hotel room. But damn, when I let that dog out and I get in there and I perform, I can scrap, man, and I know I can, and it feels good. But it was no emotion.
And you already talking about Chandler, that he doesn't deserve because he just got...
Yeah, and it's not even my position to be. I just been putting in work. That's why I'm sitting here feeling like I can talk about it, because I've been in the division, in the UFC for a long time, fighting the best of the best of the best. No disrespect to him, seems like a good husband, a good father, speaks well, has a lot of respect, carries himself very well. Nothing but respect for him. It's not a knock against him. It's just my feelings towards the division and the sport. You know what I mean? I feel like I lost to Khabib. I came out and put on a fight of the year for you guys. Got my hand raised against a top 5 opponent after that. Then I come in here and Khabib doesn't want to come back, and I knock out, one of the biggest fights you can get. I knocked this guy out too. Khabib reiterates he doesn't want to fight anymore. Dude, I'm the champ. I'm not going to fight some. And like I said, respect to Chandler. Fight a new guy to the UFC who just beat a guy who's coming off a loss that I just beat for the belt. That's not exciting to me.
And what would you say about what would you say about Oliveira, which has
I think he has more. Because I've been watching that guy for 10 years in the UFC, 2 different weight classes. He's fought the best of the best, over and over again. And he's been knocked down and got up time and time again. He's proven himself, and he's proven what mixed martial arts and what perseverance and what believing in yourself is. I respect that. Not that I don't respect Michael Chandler. I just think there's more work for him to do to come in here and beat a guy that I just beat.
And last one for me. We are always talking about how different you are 6 years after the first fight. What would you say about Conor? Did you saw any difference inside the octagon of the first Conor from this one?
I felt, that first one was so long ago, but I felt maybe that's just my growth too. I felt his presence less, like his aura less. I just saw another fighter tonight. I think that first time I was kind of deer in the headlights, you can say. This time I was just fighting another man who bleeds just like me, and I knew that.
Dustin, to your right. Congrats on the huge victory. The only other name in the lightweight equation is Justin Gaethje, who you already beat. Who do you think's more deserving of a title shot between Oliveira and Gaethje?
Oliveira, because he's never had the opportunity. Gaethje just came out here and got beat. You know, as I did. Not a knock on Gaethje, but he lost. I think Oliveira probably, or let them fight to see who gets it. You know, there's so many tough fighters in the 155-pound division. You know, but yeah.
And lastly, what was the biggest difference you felt inside the Octagon against Conor McGregor from 145 the first time to 155 this time?
I just felt in the moment. I felt aware, and I felt here. I was in the moment, and you know, ready to take advantage of any opportunity I can get. And it felt right tonight. When I walked into the Octagon and the air hit me and the lights were on me and Bruce was introducing us, it just felt right. Yeah.
Dustin. Over here to your left, Dustin. You mentioned the leg kicks, the advice from Mike Brown on that. Do you think they were going to pay off in such a big way? Conor was in here saying that, you know, he has a football in his leg.
I just know from experience how bad those things hurt. And I knew it was a 5-round fight, so it would only get worse. It would only get worse. He started catching them and trying to counter me with his left hand towards the end, but I knew they were still landing. He was catching them after they were making contact. I knew they were still hurting him. And if he did catch it and take me down, then I was going to, you know, it's a 5-round fight. Of course, you never want to give up a round, but I'd like to throw some submissions up and see what happens, you know. I am a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I'm very confident in my jiu-jitsu. But I knew the leg kicks would be a problem because Jim Miller tore my leg up, and that was a 3-round fight. And I just know how painful it is.
You didn't jump for any gillies tonight.
I promise you I would have if there was an opportunity.
And it seems
I wanted to rename this Guillotine Island. You know, when I'm laying down at night, I was thinking, like, I'm going to guillotine this guy somehow. I'm going to get his neck. This is going to be Guillotine Island.
It seems kind of evident you're a little bit torn about your future. I mean, after this, you're in the top 10 for most wins in UFC history. You have the most knockouts in lightweight history. Just knocked out the biggest star in the history of the sport.
If I'd have done the bulk of my UFC career, what did I do? 7, 8, 9 fights at featherweight? I've knocked some guys out there too. I would really be running off with the list at lightweight then.
Is there almost like a feeling of you held that interim belt too, like you've kind of done a lot or almost it all in a way?
Me and my wife were just talking about this. I feel like I've done it all, except obviously I can't walk away and say that I'm the champ. You know, I want to be the champ. When you're the champ forever. You know, and I want to be the champ, man. But yeah, I've seen the highest of the highs, the lowest of the lows in this sport, and I've built a very beautiful life for me and my family. I'm very proud of the work that I put in, and you know, fighting is just something I do at this point in my career, like I just said. But I honor this. I don't take this stuff lightly, man. I really respect the opportunity, and that's why it's so close to my heart. And I think I can help so many other young children, and so many boys and girls, just troubled youth, with my foundation. They can fight their way out too. I did it, you know. I'm just like them. I'm nothing special. If I can do it, anyone could do it. But I feel like if you introduce troubled kids to martial arts and to goals and just be a positive person around them, that it can change their life, man. This changed my life. And I just want to share that with people.
You kind of took my next question a little bit there. I mean, I know there's aspects of this that you don't enjoy the most, but the fact that you got a $500,000 donation from Conor's team, you're going to raise a bunch of other money through your auctions and everything, does that make maybe the things you don't like so much about it worth it?
Yeah, because I know what I'm fighting for, and I know, you know, of course I'm fighting for me and my family. First and foremost, I got to take care of me and mine. But everything else that I can put on my back and carry with me, because I'm doing it regardless. I'm going in there and fighting for my life regardless. As many people that can benefit from me getting in there, I want to stack it up, stack the weight on my back, and let me carry that in there with me. I want to give people a reason to cheer. I want to give people a reason to smile. You know, that means a lot to me.
Last thing, you just knocked out a guy who went multiple rounds with Floyd Mayweather. You've beaten Max Holloway twice, as you said, who people are calling the best boxer. Are you the best boxer now?
That wasn't I am, but that wasn't a knock on Max Holloway. You know, I mean, I guess it kind of was, but respect to Max. He looked incredible. He looked incredible. But I just saw Conor earlier this week when Max said that. Conor said, well, after Saturday, we'll see who's the best boxer. No, I believe in my boxing, man, very much.
And you told me when we did an interview like 2 months out from this fight, maybe I'll be the guy fighting Manny Pacquiao after this.
Maybe so. I've actually been in talks with Justin Wren and Fight for the Forgotten. He's actually in Lafayette, Louisiana right now. But I just tossed this in there because you said Manny Pacquiao. We bought 40 acres for the Pygmy people after the Khabib fight. We built some water wells. Obviously, that was the big goal. But then we had enough rollover money, so we bought them 40 acres to build housing on. And I just heard that the Manny Pacquiao Foundation, I think, is going to start building the housing on the Good Fight Foundation's land that we bought for them. So, man, you know, fighting in general, combat sports is doing some huge things, man, and I'm very proud to be a part of any of that.
Congrats, man.
Dustin, can I ask you about, sorry, over this way. I know it's hard for you to see. Here we go. You talked about going in there with like no emotion and being an assassin in there. Do you think part of Conor's attitude change in those 6 years made any difference? Like, you've been quite open about how mentally he tried to get under your skin the first time, but it's been all totally different this time around.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was a mental play as well, you know. But I didn't really pay a whole lot of mind to it. Maybe he's just maturing, maybe he's a father, and maybe he just understands and respects the sport and the competitors. I don't really know, and I don't really care. But every interaction I had with him fight week has been respectful. And I think because we both knew what we're going to do, we're both coming in here. I mean, we can shake hands and say good luck with whiskey and hot sauce sales and whatever not. And we know when that door closes, 2 men in or 1 man leaves, the Thunderdome.
And you were just talking about your great foundation. Can you give us some kind of insight into your plans with these donations and the great things that are going to come from this fight for it?
Yeah, I have a big goal right now that we're crowdfunding for the Boys and Girls Club of Acadiana and their 6 locations. We're trying to help them with their Project Learn initiative. You know, the pandemic has been tough on children as well, and especially children from single parents. And there's just so much to speak about this, but I'll just say that we're teaming up with the Boys and Girls Club to provide transportation and tutoring for the year of 2021, so the rest of this year. Transportation to and from 6 clubs and tutoring for the children as well who are learning from a distance.
Awesome. Congratulations, man.
Thank you so much.